Good morning again, everyone. We want to thank you for joining us and officially welcome you to our Eat Well for Better Health, ABSOL Delicious Eat Well for Better Health. This is the last day of our series on men's health. This month was Men's Health Awareness Month. So we've been focusing on men's health. So we're going to get started. Today, we'll be focusing on body structure, breakdown, and cancer. And we'll have a special guest as our speaker who's going to come on towards the end around the time of the after talk. Just want to formally introduce our founder and executive director is Dale Kane. She is on with us today. Dale is a nutritionist and a health professional in terms of a focus on natural health as well. So we're delighted to have her with us today. And she may speak to us later on. Just to give you all some information about Advocates, Advocates is a nonprofit organization. We were founded in 2003. We're faith-based, non-denominational. We consider ourselves a holistic health promotion and nutrition education ministry without walls. We bring wellness programs to you where you live, work, learn, shop, play, and worship. And we focus on educating and promoting health, nutrition, healthy cooking classes, wellness programs, and then teaching the relationship between diet, health, and chronic diseases. So that's our main focus, especially with one of our main programs is ABSOL Delicious Eat Well for Better Health. This particular program, our mission for ABSOL Delicious Eat Well for Better Health is improving eating habits for healthier lifestyle, increase longevity, and quality of life. So our three goals are: one is to increase the consumption of vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. The second goal is to encourage a more nutrient-rich diet plan for better health and to reduce risk factors of chronic diseases and illnesses. And then three, to obtain a healthier weight through consumption of plant-based nutrition. So those are the main goals for ABSOL Delicious. So as a faith-based organization, we do like to start off our events with a biblical reference. And the one for today is Matthew 9:12, and this comes from the NIV version of the Bible. And it says, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick." And so we like to tie that into our own journeys and looking at our health and whatnot. And so we want to focus on making sure that we are giving some optimal attention to our health and taking care of those things, and of course not avoiding them. So we're grateful to have everyone with us and giving attention to caring for our health. I am Shirley Mims, and I'm today's moderator. I'm the community engagement coordinator with Advocates for Community Wellness. I have 20 years of experience in the nonprofit sector, multiple different positions. Mainly my experience is in development as a development manager, which is fundraising, and then office administrator. I've worked in different aspects of nonprofit, including special and annual events, which often ties into fundraising. I'm self-taught in graphic design. Volunteer coordination is another role that I've played a part in, and then human resources and office management. I have a master's in nonprofit administration from North Park University, along with 3 relevant certificates in nonprofit management, governance, and then fundraising management as well. So as we get started, as we move forward, I do want to give you all our disclaimer, a waiver, and consent. First, the information that's provided in our program by the organization, by Advocates for Community Wellness and the partners, is intended for educational purposes only. So we don't intend for you to replace this information. We don't intend for this information to replace the advice of your medical doctor or other healthcare providers. So the information that's presented is based on the credentials and education of the instructors and those who are presenting. So you want to keep in mind that if you choose to go ahead and prepare some of the meals that are presented in any of our events, you may need to modify the recipes based on looking at the ingredients and considering any common allergens. Okay, so the other thing is that all of our sessions are recorded. So feel free to turn your video and audio on or off at your discretion. So now, as we get started with today's events, just to go over our topic and learning objectives for the series, we focused on heart health and high blood pressure. Last week, we focused on brain health, and then today is body structure breakdown and cancer. And today's recipe, we'll be making a pulled chicken sandwich along with 3 cabbage slaw and watermelon and feta salad. So our presenters for today, we're going to give them a chance to introduce themselves. We have Chefs William London and Chef Karen Crawford Moore, who will be bringing us our culinary experience. And then we have a presentation from Shirley Mims. We'll have a video, a pre-recorded video for her. And then later on, we're going to have our presentation from Dr. Asad Happy on body structure and cancer. So Chef Karen, if you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself, and Chef London as well, and then we can move forward with our first culinary experience.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Shirley Moore.
Yes.
So I'm Chef Karen Crawford Moore, and I am a personal chef. I've been in various aspects of food service for about 25 years. And currently I have my own personal chef service, TLC Personal Chefing. And feel free to visit my Facebook page, which is TLC Cooks. And with me, I have the pleasure of having a real veteran of the food service world. He's done everything from teaching children to serving generals in the military. So this is Chef William London, and he's going to be sharing his expertise with us today as well.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chef London. I am a retired executive chef with 47 years in the kitchen. I was a cook in the Marines. I worked for Marriott for 20 years. I worked at Harper Studio. I was a culinary instructor at Gary Homer Youth Center. Food and beverage director for Hyatt. I have a very extensive background in culinary arts. It is a pleasure to be with you this morning. Thank you so much. Okay, so today our first selection is a 3 cabbage slaw. So basically we have 3 types of cabbage. You want to cut this very, very thin, and you want to always make sure when you're making coleslaw, cut your core out. It's very hard, it's very tough, and it's not very edible. So we got some nice colors here. We got the green, the Napa, we got the red. We threw in some carrots, okay? So now we're just gonna add the rest of our ingredients, and we're gonna toss. So red onion, chopped fine. So whenever I'm cutting an onion, I cut it in half, and I always want to keep the flat side down. So this is the very common mistake that people make when they're cooking. They're cutting stuff with a sharp knife that's rolling around. So if it's rolling around, I have no leverage at all. So I can easily cut myself. But if it's flat, it's not going to move. So in half, and I take my hand to stabilize it. And then I'm gonna come in 1 time. I'm gonna come in 2. I'm gonna come in 3. I'm gonna come in 4. Then I'm gonna turn it around, just come down. And you want it really small, because when you're dealing with onion, you never want to eat anything with an onion and get a big chunk of onion in your mouth. It's gonna ruin your palate, and everything's gonna taste like onion. So I came in half, I came inside, I came across. Now I'm going to do a small dice. See how pretty that is? How
Nice.
easy it is? All the same size, no big hunks. Okay. Always my hand position on any vegetable, so you have total control. So I got minced garlic, red onion. Okay. I'm just gonna scoop this up, spread it out really nice. Okay. Okay. Then we have balsamic vinegar, 1/3 cup. Fresh lime juice. And you always, most of the time I cook, I always try to incorporate some type of citrus. Citrus is good for you. Maple syrup. Sea salt, a pinch. So a pinch is the amount that I can squeeze between these two fingers. That's a pinch. Can't be measured. A pinch. Yep. And this is a very healthy slaw. Because you notice we don't have any mayo base in here. This is a vinaigrette coleslaw. So now we're just going to toss it gently. I want to go to the bottom. So while I'm tossing this, I want to talk about the digestive system for 1 minute. Because in this country, we overeat a lot. And in my opinion, I think one of the main reasons is, we don't know how the digestive system really works. And what I mean by that is, when you're eating food and you take that first bite, it takes 20 minutes for that first bite to go all the way down to the stomach to send a signal back up to the brain to say, hey, I'm full, okay? And we've all experienced it, where we'll be having lunch, we'll take like 6 or 7 bites out of our lunch, and then we got to get up and leave real quick. But we'll notice later on, oh, I'm full, and I didn't even finish my meal. So we're really overeating, and so you can take your portions and cut them in half, and you'll get full. A lot of times people don't eat for 20 minutes, and that's just too long. So 20 minutes, brain gets the signal, I'm full. So you can cut your portions in half, really. I want to talk about a diet that I was on this year. Believe it or not, I lost 38 pounds in 3 months. And I did the keto diet. And all you do is you take away sugar and carbs. And it's amazing. Okay, so let's get a good look at that salad. It's nice and tossed, nice and pretty. We got color. We're always going to make our plates colorful, right? And there we have it, 3 cabbage slaw. And now we're going to turn the table over to Chef Karen.
Yeah, so I'm doing the watermelon and feta salad, but Chef London is going to demonstrate how to cut that watermelon.
So, a couple of things with the watermelon. First of all, people always say, "Oh, how do I know if it's ripe?" So you got, this is green. You want to look for the yellow belly. The more yellow, the more ripe. If it's all green like this, it's not ripe. Okay, so that's how you tell.
You don't smack it.
You don't smack it. No slap your mama seasoning. So when cutting fruit, smelling vegetables, you don't want anything to roll, okay? You want it to be flat. See how we cut that onion in half, it's flat? If it's this way, it's rolling. We never want it to roll. So for the melon, we want to take off the 2 ends. So when using sharp knives, when you're cutting fruits and vegetables, you want to stay in control, okay? So you always want to have a flat surface. So now we have our flat surface. So if we get a good look, the outside is the rind, that's the middle portion, and here's the meat. So where the red meets the white, not the green, but the white, we're going to ride that all the way down. So fruit, cantaloupe, honeydew, they're very oval shaped. So when we cut, we have to cut and slice oval. We can't cut straight. We got to ride it. So I'm going to go in between the meat right there, and I'm just going to ride it all the way down. So it's
So you're
here.
getting more yield, right?
You're getting more yield. It's in the wrist. It's in the wrist. So I'm just curving it. So now, that's the imaginary line right there. We want to go in between this and that. So we're going to just write it all the way down and curve. See how easy that was? So we take off one little piece here. So now we're going to come down. So we're going to square it off. We want all our cubes to be the same size.
Chef, which do you prefer? Do you prefer old-fashioned watermelon or some of the hybrids, the seedless watermelon? What's your opinion?
I prefer all.
All good.
So you see how we got our cubes all the same size? Okay. And you don't want to cut it too small because watermelon is a very, very high water content, okay? So not too small because it'll just turn into juice on you. So we're going to turn the table back over to Chef Karen. Okay, Chef.
All right. Thank you. Wow. I know I'm going to cut my watermelon for the fork. Put that to the side and cut a little bit more.
Whoa, look at that move.
Okay. And that's going to go in on a big bowl here. All right. Here. And move this out of the way. Can you hand me that other cutting board, Chef?
Mm-hmm. Want me to chop them in for you?
You can't. Well,
No. Okay. Trying to be the good sous chef.
you're trying to be the good sous chef. See, some people are greedy around here. They want to chop everything. So just show off how much faster you are with the knife than I am. So here I have cucumber, and this is called English cucumber. So you notice how they say it's seedless. I mean, technically there are seeds there, but it's much smaller than your traditional cucumber. So a lot easier to eat, much more palatable, pleasurable, all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna finish cubing my cucumber. And this is we thought it was a very appropriate salad with the holiday coming up. It's a very cool, refreshing salad. Great with your barbecue foods. Add that to my bowl as well. And we have some lovely fresh mint, another like very refreshing herb. I remember when mojitos were started getting popular a few years ago. It was very hard to get mint anywhere. So I was glad to be able to get that mint. And then this is, hand me that lid. I was going to show them. This is, instead of traditional feta, this is called Follow Your Heart. This is a dairy-free cheese, and it's feta crumbles. So again, I was very fortunate to have found this in the store this morning. I was very excited. So we're gonna put some of that in there. And what else do we have, Chef? A little black pepper.
Red onion.
Red onion, thinly sliced. So Chef London did the hard work for me. I just have to come in and slice it down a little bit.
And look at the color. You have your red, you have your green, you have your purple, you have your white. This is the nice salad for the 4th of July barbecue this weekend.
Absolutely.
Very heart healthy. And I tasted the feta crumbles. You can't tell the difference. It's plant-based.
How about that?
Plant-based foods are really becoming popular because the flavor is just amazing.
Right.
You can hardly tell the difference in any of the plant-based foods.
So this is 6 grams of fat, as opposed to, I think traditional feta would probably be 3 times that at least. All right, so we have, I'm gonna put my dressing together here. And I'm a whisker. I like to whisk my dressing. So here in this bowl, I have some raw agave nectar, the lighter, the amber nectar, and I think there's a little bit of pepper.
Yeah.
A little bit of pepper. Hey, can you throw me that whisk? Wonderful. And this is apple cider vinegar. This is actually the good stuff. This is Bragg's. And do you see what those gloves are?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour that over. And it wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time.
See how nice that color is? You got your green, your red, your purple, your white. And you know, we eat with our eyes. 60% of eating is eye appeal, visual. If it looks good, it tastes good. And this looks good and refreshing.
Absolutely.
Heart healthy.
And heart healthy.
Even more better.
More. Okay, so this is our second salad. This is the watermelon, cucumber, and feta with the red onion salad. We have now the recipe for our main item, our sandwich. It is a lengthy process. So this was done in advance.
So what exactly did you do?
So in the crock pot, I combined the tomato sauce, the spices, green chilies, finely chopped onion and minced garlic, and a little agave nectar for sweetness. Stirred that together, whisked that together, and then put in my chicken. This is a boneless chicken. The recipe calls for thighs, but I wasn't able to get thighs, so I used tenderloin. And put that in the crock pot on low for 5 hours. So it's going to be really tender. The flavors are going to have married very well because they've been simmering for hours and hours. So very tasty. So I have to get a little bit messy here.
Okay.
So for healthy eating, a lot of times we don't get satisfied because we don't have the savory
Mm-hmm.
flavor that we're looking for. You know, butter, cream, sugar, chocolate chip Haagen-Dazs. So for chefs, it's very challenging to do plant-based foods because they don't have any fat. Fat is where the flavor is. So what I do, especially in the summertime, is I try to smoke it or grill it. I mean, any plant-based item you get can go on the grill. You know, so to get more flavor, I smoke it. You know, I use cherry wood. I take the plant-based items and I marinate them overnight with like a vinaigrette or even something simple as Italian dressing to give it more flavor. So
Yes.
we have to get creative with plant-based because it's lacking that fat, savory flavor that our body.
It is. Mhm. And it's about retraining your palate. I mean, our palate has been trained, and has been accustomed to certain flavors and combinations of food. And in fact, that's what the food industry actually uh, depends on, because a lot of our foods are now processed that we're eating. And I'm so glad with this online community is that a lot of things we're cooking from scratch. These are whole foods, um, from the farm or from the garden to the table. Well, I should say to the pot to the table, but they're whole.
The Chef Karen has put in the sauce on and make this such a wonderful sandwich. And we're going to top it off. So we're going to take a little bit of the salad and garnish the sandwich with it. Because if you go to Memphis, Tennessee, that's how it's served. A little crunch.
A little crunch. Wonderful.
And we're going to add our second salad to the side. Now look at that there. Now that's a 4th of July plate right there.
Mm.
And you don't have to be guilty about what you did afterwards. Lots of balance, lots of color, lots of flavor.
More importantly, heart healthy.
Heart healthy.
So thank you all once again for that. This is very good. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. So we did a pulled chicken sandwich, and I'm going to just show you all on the screen. This is a snapshot you should be getting, if you have not received already, the ingredients and the directions. We send out the recipes. So this is what will be in your email. This is for the pulled chicken sandwich. And then also we did the 3 cabbage slaw and watermelon and feta salad as well. So those, the ingredients and directions will also be in your email for both of those. Okay, so next we have, we do a mealtime discussion where we highlight specific ingredients and just go over the health benefits and how it can specifically help with particular illnesses, and in this case, cancer and any other chronic disease or illness. So we have a presentation from Shirley Mims. She's usually on with us, and this time, because she wasn't able to be here, we do have a pre-recorded video. Shirley Mims is our Community Relations and Special Projects Director. So we'll go ahead and show you the video now. We're gonna be highlighting garlic, watermelon, and cabbage that was used in our recipes today.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mealtime Discussion, Foods That Heal. I am glad to be here today, and I thank you for joining us. I'm inspired by your willingness to take care of yourself because your health does matter. I'm Shirley Mims, and I work with Advocates for Community Wellness as the Community Relations and Special Projects Director. June is Men's Health Awareness Month, and we have been talking about that with our past 2 series that we've had. And today is series number 3. And this is our final series as far as our men's health. Our focus today is cancer in the body. So on that note, I researched to see what ingredients that were used in the recipes that would help us in that area. I will be highlighting the health benefits of 3 ingredients that the chefs, Chef Karen and Chef London, used in today's recipes. So let's ease on down the road. My first ingredient is going to be one of my favorites. I've used it in many, many dishes, many times, and I'm sure you have too. And it's garlic. This ingredient was used in the recipe, the pulled chicken on whole wheat bun. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But before I do that, I'm going to give some statistics on cancer in the body. So each year, almost 8 million people die from some form of cancer, and almost 13 million more people find out that they have cancer for the first time. That truly eye-opening statistic is that 30 to 40% of the annual cancer-related deaths can be prevented. An increasing number of people are also avoiding traditional cancer remedies and choosing to focus on alternate remedies instead. So those are just some statistics. So now we're going to go into the ingredients, which is garlic. Garlic may have benefits that go beyond flavoring food. It has been shown to have antibacterial and antioxidant properties. It has also been linked to a reduced risk of developing certain cancers. Although there is still much to be learned about the exact role that garlic might play in reducing the risk of cancer, it might have some benefits in cancers of the testicle, and the tract, and as well as breast cancer and prostate cancer. Garlic and onions, which they go together, have been a part of cooking since ancient times. The fragrant garlic plant has been called by many names, including the bud of the tree of life for its anti-aging creams. Garlic is a vegetable in the allium family of bud-shaped plants. It grows in several sizes and colors and can be planted along other vegetables as a natural pesticide. Although dining on garlic-flavored foods that may give you that garlic breath, this food is believed to help improve health by lowering high blood pressure. And the health benefit of garlic also includes its natural antibiotic action that prevents the growth of bacteria, antioxidant action to help fight free radical damage, and anti-inflammatory properties, all of which may help prevent cancer. Garlic may reduce the development of cancer. Many processes are present when the garlic starts to grow, but it all starts with the DNA inside of a cell that becomes abnormal. A normal healthy cell is made in a very predictable process, and then at the proper time, it undergoes cell death. The abnormal DNA in cancer cells causes them to make new cancer cells uncomfortably, and the cells do not die when they are supposed to. Substance in garlic may play a role in improving the process of cancer growth, cell growth, including repairing the DNA. There was a study done in 2019 that supported the role of garlic in DNA repair and prevention of cancer cell development in an experimental lab setting. All right. You can use garlic in several ways to boost your health. If you want to reap the most rewards of garlic, it's helpful to understand the best ways to buy, prepare, and cook the cloves. How much garlic should you eat? It may take only a small amount of garlic to provide its cancer-reducing effects. Even 1 clove of garlic daily, 1 clove daily, has been linked with a reduced risk of cancer. Okay, so that's good to know. All right, so now I'm going to my next ingredients, and this one is watermelon. This was used in the recipe watermelon and feta salad. I love me some watermelon. I love the seedless, but I grew up on the ones with the seeds in it. So, but now you can get just about anything. So, but I love the seedless, and I love watermelon, especially if it's right. It's sweet and it has a good taste to it. So the health benefits of watermelon are plentiful, especially for men. There is a relationship between watermelon for prostate health. Lipoconine is a powerful antioxidant that a number of large studies have shown in particular good at protecting against prostate, colon, and rectal cancer, as well as heart disease. Tomatoes and other lipoconine-rich foods, such as watermelon and pink grapefruit, are associated with a reduced risk of prostate and other cancers. All right. It's loaded with potassium, magnesium, lycopene, and amino acids. Watermelon is one of the most nutritional summer fruits. In fact, it's often referred to as a natural Viagra. Some studies suggest that it may help men and boost your sexual health. So eat watermelon for your prostate health. All right. As mentioned earlier, watermelon supports prostate health largely due to its high antioxidant content. The fruit is one of the best natural sources of readily available. You can get it, okay? And so men with the highest lycopene intakes had a 25% lower risk of prostate cancer and a 44% lower risk of other cancers. Okay, all right. So that is just a brief bit of information on the watermelon. My final one is cabbages. This is my final ingredients, and this was used for the cabbage slaw that they prepared. They had red cabbage, they had green cabbage, and they had Napa cabbage. So cabbage, where does it come from? Cabbage is a green leafy vegetable from the brassicum family. When you consider all the other members of the family, it is perhaps easy to see why cabbage is so darn awesome. These members, otherwise known as cruciferous, it's really hard to pronounce that one, vegetables, include cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, collard greens, kale, Brussels sprouts, and mustard seeds. All right, so red cabbage, one of the most important health benefits of this cabbage is its ability in preventing cancer. Studies show that red cabbage prevents lung cancer and lowers the risk of other cancers, including liver, gastrointestinal cancer. And also antioxidant prevents free radicals from damaging your cells. The Naple cabbage protein is found, the Naple seeds can inhibit the growth of cancer cells. And thus Naple cabbage helps the body fight against the cancer. So today's science is coming to understand that much of the power of cabbage comes from its high sulfur content. And this couples with this amazing high vitamin C levels and plenty of other vitamins and minerals makes a true natural superfood. And if you were wondering how to lower your risk of cancer or perhaps even fight back, cabbage might have the answers for you. So previous studies have found that eating vegetables, which is the cabbage, could reduce the risk of breast cancer. All right. Eating cabbage is often part of many weight loss plans. Dietitians love this nutrition because it is low calorie food and it's low in carbohydrates and high in many different vitamins and minerals. The list of benefits from eating cabbage can seem nearly endless, both for preventing specific medical conditions and promoting general wellness. Another area of your health where cabbage consumption can have a profound benefit, it also lowers your risk of heart disease. So eating cabbage has been shown to lower your risk of cardio disease by lowering those cholesterol levels, reducing your blood pressure levels. So what are the disadvantages of cabbage? Because a lot of times we say, well, everything is good, but sometimes you really have to read into it. You have to do your research to make sure that you're not doing something, because if have other health issues, what findings may not work for you. So we need to make sure. So in my findings, I found that even an impossible healthy food like cabbage can have a downside. The high level of vitamin K in cabbage can help your body process calcium, but there can be a negative side if you are on blood thinners. After suffering from certain kinds of heart disease, many people take drugs to prevent clotting, and suddenly changing the amount of vitamin K in your diet can really cause you to have problems. So, in my closing, we can't change the generic factors that increase our risk of cancer, but we can adopt an appropriate diet with plenty of vegetables. And that's something that I always knew that vegetables were good. You know, my mom always had them on the table, and so I ate them. So, and I tried to instill that with my children, but now they're all grown, so they're setting their own tables. So hopefully they're putting some vegetables on there. So in my closing, I'd like to say, I hope that this information has been helpful to you. Please do your homework and just research this information just to make sure that it fits your criteria on where you at in your life, because your health does matter. And we want you to know that. So in my final comments, I'd like to leave some encouraging words as always. So tune in, here we go. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not think, not wonder, not imagine, not obsess. Just breathe and have faith that everything will work out for the best. This author is unknown. In my closing, blessings to all, and I will see you the next time. Bye-bye now.
All right, everyone. So we hope you enjoyed that presentation. We're going to go on to, shortly we're going to bring on our speaker in just a second. So some of the ingredients that Shirley put up, usually when she's doing the presentation, we'll have these other slides coming across the screen with a few tidbits to take away, but we weren't able to show that while the video was going. However, so just to give you like a quick follow-up, so the garlic prevents the growth of bacteria, has an antioxidant action to help fight free radical damage and anti-inflammatory properties, all of which may help prevent cancer. And then also 1 clove of garlic daily has been linked with a reduced risk of some cancers. So, and for watermelon, it says it is loaded with potassium, magnesium, and lycopene and amino acids. It supports prostate health, largely due to its high antioxidant content. And the men with the highest lycopene intakes had a 25% lower risk of prostate cancer and a 44% lower risk of other cancers. And for the cabbage, the red cabbage and Napa cabbage help fight against cancer. Good cabbage contains anti-inflammatory properties as well, and it's a good source of vitamins and minerals, including vitamin C and vitamin K. So now we will bring on our guest speaker, Dr. Asar Happy.
Thank you, Shirley. It is a pleasure to be amongst all of you all and to share with you all what I know about keeping the body well. And what we have to focus on is that as we get older, there are 2 areas that tend to break down the most. The first area is our structure tends to break down, and we develop arthritis and all type of depleting conditions that allow us not to move as well and to have a lot of pain. And then we develop internal problems. When we look at cancer, be it of the breast or be it of the prostate, it is a condition that comes about partly because of what we're eating. And so what we have been educated on is that everything we eat is fine. But what we find is that in the marketplace, 2 products that they have in the marketplace the most that is in all the processed food is sugar. So every product that you look at that's packaged, bottled, or whatever, you should look on there. And if there's sugar, you should not be consuming it, because there is such an accumulation of sugar that's in our bodies. Sugar is a very high acidic chemical. And being very high acidic, if we know anything about it, we know that when we are children and we eat a bunch of candy, we get cavities. So the cavity is because the sugar has broken down the enamel in our teeth and broken our teeth down. So the same thing it does to our bones, and then the same thing it does to our immune system, and then the same thing it does to our lungs, and the same thing it does to our bones. So what happens is that the sugar breaks us down because it is what we call acidic. Now, most of you all on here, because you're older in age, you didn't really get a chance to learn about acidity and alkalinity. But what we're finding out now is that more younger people know about acidity and alkalinity. If you ask the average young person, have they heard of alkaline water? The average young person would have heard about it. If we ask any of you all, have you heard about alkaline water? Some of you all would say yes, but then if I say, do you drink it? You might say, I drink tap water. You might say, I drink bottled water. But the bottled water has a certain pH to it, just like the drinking water has a certain pH. And when we look at cancer, we say cancer comes about because your pH in your blood becomes too low. The pH in your urine becomes too low. When there's a very low pH, microbes or infection sets up. It could set up in your breast, it could set up in your prostate, it could set up in your bones, it could set up in your other organs. So we break down because acid is really our problem. So you all might not know this, but the death certificate on a person that dies of cancer, it is not listed as cancer that killed them. It is listed as metabolic acidosis, which means you receive too much acid in your body. You consume too much acid. So we say, well, what else has a lot of acid besides sugar? Well, what has acid besides sugar is meats. Meats have a lot of acid. Now, there's two types of acid that meats have. They have a uric acid, which is what gives your bones the arthritis, or what we say the inflammation. Inflammation is a swelling. Inflammation is a pain. Inflammation is a redness. Inflammation is what happens when you get too much acid in the body. And so acid comes from sugar, acid comes from meat, acid comes from cheese. So if I ask you, and acid comes from a lot of flour. So if I ask you, what do you eat? You might say, well, for breakfast, Dr. Happy, I have bacon and eggs and potatoes. And I say, well, what is that? You're telling me I have acid with some more acid and some more acid. And then I say, well, what do you have for lunch? You say, well, I have some potatoes and some bread, and then I have some meat. I say, okay, well, for lunch, you had some more acid and some more acid and some more acid. You say, well, I said, well, what did you have for dinner? You say, well, I had some meat and I had some bread and I had some potatoes and I had some vegetables. I said, well, what vegetables did you have? Well, I had a side dish. I had a side dish of some string bean. Well, I had a side dish of some carrots. So I had a side dish of some potatoes. So what you tell me is that I have a high accumulation of acid. That's what you're telling me. So I say, well, what could you possibly eat that is less acidic? Well, let's look at that. What you could eat is more vegetables. You always hear them talk about in the Cancer Society that we should eat 5 fruits and 5 vegetables a day. So I ask any of you all, do you eat 5 fruits or 5 vegetables a day? Perhaps not. And then if you eat the 5 fruits, well, how do you consume it? You might say, well, I buy some bottled peaches at the store, some canned peaches. But what is in there? Well, what is in there would be corn syrup. And corn syrup is like the sugar. It breaks the body down because it's too acidic. And so what you're hearing about now, as you observe in our society, you're hearing more about people eating more vegetables. You're hearing more about people growing their food, growing more produce. You're hearing about more farmer markets coming up where fresh produce is brought to the market. They talk about the food desert that we have in our communities. The food deserts mean we don't have the stores that have more of the produce. So if I say, well, where do you all shop? You say, I shop at Save-A-Lot. I shop at Aldi's. I shop at Jewel's. I say, well, do you ever shop at Pete's? Do you ever get organic vegetables and fruits? Do you know about organic vegetables and fruits? Because another thing that can cause cancer is chemicals on our food. So when they grow the food, if they put a lot of pesticides, which are chemicals to keep the microbes, the insects at bay and the microbes, then the chemicals are not good for us. So I say, well, how often do you eat organic food? How often do you eat food that you know there's no chemicals sprayed on it? You might say, I eat conventional vegetables, conventional fruits. You're telling me I eat a bunch of chemicals. I eat a bunch of fertilizer, a bunch of chemicals. Well, then we have to read on what is being put on the food that could cause us the cancer. Then I say, do you eat foods that have coloration, dye coloration? I drink some red drinks and I drink some blue drinks. Well, what is in there? What made it red? What made it blue? Well, a lot of times when you drink flavored drinks, they put chemicals, dyes in the drink to change the color. And they found that certain dyes help to create cancer. But if you're not being exposed to this information, if all you're doing is eating this food and then going to see your doctor, and then the doctor say, oh, I got bad news for you. You got cancer of the breast. I got bad news for you. You got cancer of the prostate. Well, what do I need to fix that? Well, we're going to put you on some chemotherapy. Well, how toxic is that? Well, it can be kind of toxic, and you might get sick from it, and you might lose your hair, and you might can't digest, or you can't hold your food down because now you're consuming some more chemicals from the chemo. Then, because they call it chemo because it's chemicals, chemotherapy. Then they say, okay, well, we give you some radiation. Well, what do radiation do? Radiation burns. I know of a cousin of mine. She had got cancer in her jaw. And they say, we just need to give you some radiation therapy, and then your jaw will be okay, because she had a swelling in her jaw. Well, they gave her the radiation therapy. It burnt her face up. And then they cut her jaw open where the tumor was, and she could never eat again. She had to drink through a straw. She was drooling all the time because she couldn't hold her saliva in her mouth, and she died in 6 months. So what I'm saying, you are the advocate of your own health. To be the advocate of your own health, you have to become educated. You have to become informed. You have to know more than what the average person knows. I was supposed to die over 23 years ago because I developed a condition when I was 20 called sarcoidosis. This condition is a condition in which you lose your lungs. And when I went to see the doctor said, I have bad news for you. You have an incurable disease, and you will die between 30 and 50 years old of lung cancer. And so we have to, there's nothing to save you. We have one medication called prednisone. You can't take it all the time, but you will be able to take it at times when your lungs are inflamed, and you will die by 50. So I found out that I need to know more than what that doctor was telling me. So that's what took me on this journey that I'm telling you all about now. And that journey took me into becoming a doctor, because I wanted to know how to first live longer. I wanted to know how to first be able to breathe better as I got older, and I wanted to learn how to cure myself. So I changed my diet. I stopped eating the sugar. I stopped eating the meats. I stopped eating the chemicals in the food, and I became a vegan, a vegetarian. I started eating from the garden. Now, the foods that you eat from the garden, they call it alkaline. just like the alkaline water. So if you're eating alkaline water and you're drinking alkaline foods and you're eliminating the chemicals that's sprayed on the foods, you're eliminating the acid that's in the foods, like in the meats and in the cheese and in the in the sugars, because I don't eat all those processed foods. I look at everything I put in the body. If I go somewhere, I say, do you put sugar in your food? I don't want any. And so I am an advocate of my body. I am a guardian of what goes in it. And guess what? I did not die at 50. I am now 73. I breathe better than when I was 20. I can outbreathe athletes like LeBron James without running up and down the floor. And on top of all of that, I don't have the sarcoidosis. A person that all of you all might know, his name was Bernie Mac. He was a comedian, made a lot of money, but at the same time, he didn't go to seek out further than what the doctors were telling him. Well, he did die at 50. He died in Northwestern Hospital, one of the top hospitals in this country, one of the top in the city or outside of the city. Well, the hospital itself is right downtown in the Gold Coast area. He died of 2 pneumonias, plus he got MRSA, which is a bacteria that's running around the hospital that you can get. So what I'm telling you all must become advocates. Now, the last thing I'm gonna share with you is that there are herbs that can cure the cancer of the breast and of the prostate. You have to know about those herbs. And if you learn about those herbs and change your diet, you can be saved. But let's go a step further. How about prevention? How about we learn how to eat correctly so we don't even create the problems in the first place? I've worked with a lot of people that have cancer of the prostate, cancer of the breast. I've worked with a lot of people who have had arthritis, a lot of people who've had diabetes, a lot of people who had heart troubles. Let me tell you this last story. I had a patient who had to be dialysis. He was 90 years old, a bishop in California, San Diego. He called me one day because this was like on a Wednesday and his numbers were going up. The doctor told him, we got to put you on dialysis. His wife, who's a lawyer at 70 years old, she called me. She said, Dr. Happy, they want to put my husband on dialysis. I said, well, first of all, stop eating the flour and stop eating the sugar. And second of all, I'm going to send you some herbs to help bring those numbers down so you don't have to be put on dialysis. That was on a Wednesday. By Monday, the numbers was down. He didn't have to be put on dialysis. He was 90. He lived 5 years longer. And he died because he had went and got the vaccination and had a reaction to the vaccination, had to go into the ICU. And while he was in the ICU, they did not raise the rails up on the bed. He fell out the bed and broke his neck. That's how he died. He didn't die from his body breaking down. Now, what I'm telling you all must catch up. You must become like the young people who have learned about the alkaline water. You must drink the alkaline water. I have an alkaline water machine on my sink. I have an alkaline water machine on every floor that my building is upon. There's 3 floors to my building, and I have a machine on every floor. I can go and drink the alkaline water right out of the machine from the tap. It changes the water to alkaline water. And here's the best part of it. Alkaline water flushes the acid out of your body. Well, where's the acid come from? Well, it's coming from the meats you eat. It's coming from the sugar in all the products that you buy that you don't read the label that there's sugar, usually one of the first ingredients in there. It comes from the cheese. Well, what else is in the cheese? Well, cheese is made from bacteria. And bacteria cause infection. Well, how we know? You eat enough cheese, you're going to get a cold. You're going to get congestion from the cheese. It's going to slow up your circulation to your heart. It's going to create cholesterol in your body. Well, are we taking cholesterol medication? I'm sure a bunch of you all are taking cholesterol medication. Why is that? Because you're eating the cheese that has the cholesterol in there. So it's giving you the problem, and you go see the doctor. You say, doctor, the doctor tells you, he says, your cholesterol is up. We got to give you some stanton. We got to give you this drug to bring it down. He says, is there anything I can do to bring the cholesterol down? No, there's nothing you can do. Do I need to change what I'm eating? Oh, just eat whatever you want to. Well, if the hospital is a is a system that is in business, and business is supposed to make money for their investors, then guess what? You are the product. You're not the product, but you're the customer. And when you start understanding that in the health system, you're the customer, you will take a more direct personal involvement with your health to say, I don't want to be the customer that becomes the victim. I want to be the customer that I become very knowledgeable how to take care of this body so that this body becomes very preventable, so that my health becomes very preventable, that I can live a super long life and have a great, wonderful, healthy life without all the suffering and without all the burdens of taking care of this body and running it to the hospital and running it to the doctors every week with complaints of pain that comes from eating the same stuff I told you, the sugar, just try it. Just stay off sugar. Stop eating the processed foods. Start eating from the garden. Start eating the vegetables, the salads from the garden. Stop eating all the dairy and the cheese. Stop it for a month and see how much better you feel. So my time has now ran out, but I could go on further, but let's just heed this one last word. The most dangerous word you will know is maybe the pain will go away. Well, it won't go away unless you stop what's creating the pain. And to do that, you must become knowledgeable. Now, the last thing I'm gonna leave is my number. My number, if you all have a pen, my number is 312-804-6785. I'm gonna leave it again, 312-804-6785. My email address is A for apple, N for natural, H for happy, ANH, 1821 at gmail.com. ANH 1821 at gmail.com. The last thing I'm gonna leave with you is the young people are learning how to take care of their bodies. And like at all times, it's always the young people that get up on the newer knowledge. So I'm sure some of the young people around you are telling you to quit eating the meat, quit eating the sugar, quit eating the cheese, quit eating the processed foods and start eating more from the garden. Take note, listen to the young people because they have the new knowledge. But back in the day, this was the knowledge. This was the knowledge because they didn't have all these stores back in the day. Back in the day, you ate more from the garden. Back in the day, the people were more healthier. Back in the day, the people could work on their farms and work long hours and be strong and vital. But now we have succumbed to being very sick. Our body's breaking down with great suffering. We depend upon the hospitals and we eat from the stores that's full of all kind of stuff you can go and buy and get yourself in trouble. So become wise, take heed, be like myself, become a one who wants to experience different so you can find your body healing and working better. So thank you, and you all have a great life. And like I say, I deal with cancer, I deal with all kind of problems, so feel free to call me. Have a great life, and it's back to you.
Just to kind of wrap up here, to give you a review on ABSOL Delicious Eat Well for Better Health. We focus on learning to prepare healthy and tasty meals through live monthly culinary experience. You do receive free recipes. We have discussions on the ingredients that are good for particular health conditions, and we do this monthly. It's virtual and free, obviously. So the last 3 Thursdays of every month. So look forward to information on our July series. We'll be giving that information via email. You may get email, but also you can check our website as well as social media. So just Also, to give you information on some of our other programs, we do also have Along the Journey Breast Cancer Survivorship Support Program. There's information regarding that online. This particular program is focused on those who live in the Chicagoland area, servicing 3 particular target areas, Roseland, Inglewood, and Auburn Gresham area. And we are also rolling out a new program, Well Woman Wellness Promotion Program, helping women to gain access and tearing down the barriers to access to healthcare. So we would also encourage you to participate in, we have a survey regarding that as well. That's going to help us to promote the program better as well. Please stay connected with us. We do have our phone numbers listed here, 708-300-9072. And if you have any questions, you can also email us at info@a4cw.org. Visit our website, lots of information on our program, our staff, and just educational content. You can also keep up with our events there as well. And then follow us on social media. We have a Facebook fan page at Advocates for Community Wellness. We also have a Facebook group, which is named after our previous title of the program, Eat Well, Cooking Club for Better Health. And then you can also follow us on Instagram at Advocates for Community Wellness. So we do promote, our events are also listed on social media, but also educational content. So we do hope that you will follow us there and engage with us in any conversation or questions, and just look for additional information in that way as well. Once again, thank you for joining us today, but also for this series. We hope that you enjoyed it. Also, we would love for you to invite other people as well. This has been a very informative and fun series, as it has been in the past as well. So we hope that you feel the same way and that you'll invite others as well, because it's very educational content that we do need for our communities. And so as we wrap things up, we do like to end with a prayer. And this particular prayer is for courage, especially if we are facing any particular issues in our health, and just taking the courage to take advantage of our opportunities and resources, and facing things head on. So this prayer says, I come before you, O Lord, and drink in this moment of peace, that I may carry something of your hope, love, and grant me tenacious wisdom, courage as I go through this day. When I am tempted to give up, help me to keep going. Grant me a cheerful spirit when things don't go my way, and give me courage to do whatever needs to be done. Amen. So we want to keep that in mind as we're facing various things as we go through life and dealing with our health, is to keep a cheerful spirit and be encouraged, to use wisdom and walk in courage to do the things that need to be done to gain the results that we are looking for.